When we started talking about the Constitution, I mentioned to you slavery. And we looked and we saw how slavery was a problem in the creation of the Constitution. And I had said that we were going to look at the rest of what we had to learn this year by looking at slavery. So let's go back a second and look at slavery in the Constitution. And basically what happens in the Constitution with slavery is they make a couple small concessions, a couple small things they put in there about slavery, but they don't really do anything about it, okay? And many of the framers don't want it, and many of the people who want it think that it's bad, but they're not willing to get rid of it, but they're all hoping it's going to go away. So a lot of them are thinking that in time, slavery is just going to die out on its own and become obsolete. When something is obsolete, it's not useful to us anymore, okay? It's old technology. We have something better. We don't need that old thing, okay? If you go out hunting, you're not going to use arrows that have tips that are made out of rock anymore, okay? We have better technology for that. Rock arrowheads are now obsolete, okay? So slavery involves doing everything by hand all day long for the most part. And so they figured, hey, listen, after a while, this is not going to be the way to do things anymore anyway, and it's just going to go away. So why make everybody mad and get rid of it now? So they pass the Constitution, they get the Bill of Rights, they get it all ratified, it becomes law, and the new government starts working, okay? Now, what happens is slavery, theoretically, should have started dying out. Tobacco plantations, different plantations that had been around since colonial times weren't making much money anymore. So, maybe they were right. Maybe slavery would just go away. But interestingly enough, new technology actually made slavery more useful for the slaveholders. Instead of making it obsolete and making you not need it anymore, it actually ended up causing more slavery. And there's kind of a few things that we can talk about here that might help us understand how slavery increases over time instead of disappearing. So one thing is it's a moneymaker. People in the North, even in states that have outlawed slavery or who are granting their slaves gradual emancipation. Emancipation is the freeing of slaves. A lot of merchants, people who own ships, still make money sending their ships to Africa and selling slaves in the West Indies and in the South, okay? So the North is involved in the slave trade. And then even though like the tobacco is not working very well, we discovered a new crop. Well, it's not new. We've used it before, but it wasn't very profitable, okay? So what it is cotton. Cotton has seeds in it, okay? There's kind of two types of cotton. There's Sea Island cotton, and there's another type of cotton. The other type of cotton has lots of seeds, okay? And so growing it and trying to pull the seeds out takes a lot of time. You don't really make a lot of money for all your effort. Then this guy, Eli Whitney, comes around. Now, Eli Whitney was an inventor. He has a lot of good ideas that help spread invention and technology along. But we're going to kind of just focus on one thing right now, and that's his invention of the cotton gin. And what the cotton gin does is it's a machine that instead of having to take all the seeds out by hand, it separates the seeds in the cotton for you. So what actually happened is that machine made the separating of the seeds quicker and easier, which made it more profitable to grow cotton, which means now you could make money growing cotton because you didn't have to sit there and pick all the seeds out of it. So what ended up happening is to grow more cotton, they brought in more slaves. And so this new technology actually increased slavery across the South, and it made it so they could grow cotton in all sorts of areas where they wouldn't have grown it before because it wasn't making them any money. So cotton spreads across the South, and because cotton makes money, they want to grow more cotton to make more money, and more cotton means more slaves. So instead of slavery disappearing, slavery grows. Okay, and the South becomes very attached to their slaves and their slave labor, and they become a lot less willing to let it go. And the other thing that's going on too is in the North. So the South is more farms, the North is more factories. That starts to happen more and more as the years go on. They have textile mills. They've borrowed or stolen the technology from England to turn cotton into cloth, into textiles, okay? And so those factories start growing in New England, up where we live. And what do you need to make cloth? You need cotton. So as there are more factories in the north and growing cotton becomes more profitable because of the cotton gin, all those factors work together to actually increase slavery in the United States.